Hello dear students, as you all know we are doing chapter number 7 now. Okay, numericals of chapter 6 are still left, we'll do afterwards. Because chapter number 6 and chapter number 7 they are in the same unit, so we can do numericals combined. Okay, so yesterday, means in the last video lecture, we have discussed about average value of alternating current over one complete cycle which was equal to 0 and average value of alternating current over half cycle which was equal to I average over half cycle, it was equal to 2 upon pi into I naught, which can be in the decimals 0.637 into I naught. So this is the value of I average. Okay, and it has been calculated over half cycle. But these are not the standard value of which we give reference to. You must have heard of. Okay, if this fuse is of 5 ampere in our home supply, domestic supply is of alternating current itself. So you must have heard this fuse is of rating 5 ampere, 2 ampere, 15 ampere. So that very current is what? It is not average current over half cycle. We cannot calculate the current on a half cycle. We cannot take average over half cycle and take it as a value for the whole of the current. Okay, so we'll try to change our concept. We don't calculate the current by charges. Okay, yesterday the concept was charge, flow of charge. Now today we are going to study a very important one, and that is V root mean square value. Root mean square value. Root mean square value. First we are going to study about current. So it is often called IRMS. Okay, RMS is what? Root mean square. I is what? Current. What we are calculating here? We are calculating alternating current, the RMS value of alternating current. Okay, how it is defined? It is defined with the help of heating effect. It is defined with the help of heating effect. What we say? We say that IRMS is that value of direct current which produces same amount of heat as it same amount of heat in the same time interval as the alternating current produces. Same time interval means basically the time interval for which the AC flows in a circuit and the time interval in which that DC flows in the circuit, that time interval is same. So what here the definition is saying? The value of direct current which produces the same heat at the alternating current is produces for the same time interval. Okay, suppose for a 10 second a direct current flows. Say this is the resistance. We have combined cell of oil. I am not specifying it. What is the value of it? Suppose here the current is flowing. This current is direct current. What is the amount of heat produced by it? The heat produced by it is given by H is equal to I square into RT. This is the formula of heat production. And suppose the same resistance is connected to an alternating source. Okay. Now the alternating current flows in the circuit. There is no need to show the direction of alternating current because it changes after every half cycle. So heat produces by this. Now we cannot apply this formula because I changes at every time. So what we are going to do? We are going to calculate BH, a small amount of heat produced for a small time interval, and it is given by I square into R into dt. Further it will be integrated 0 to H, 0 to T. Okay. So what we are going to have from here? The total heat produced in one time interval, and here the total heat produced in T time interval. If T comes to be capital T, the same time interval, what we are going to have? I square into RT. So basically this I, which is basically is direct current, it is called its RMS value because the same heat is being produced in these two. Okay, it is that value of direct current which produces same heat as it has been produced in alternating current for the same time interval. And what is that time interval? Time interval is one time period. So what we are going to do? First of all we are going to calculate this one, and then after that last we are going to equate that heat equal to this, and then we are going to have this value IRMS. Okay, so this is the procedure, this is the strategy. So let us move ahead. So what we are going to write? We are going to write like we say heat produced by AC in capital T. Capital T is the time interval, one time period. So it is going to be equal to dH is equal to I square R into dt. Further it will be integrated from 0 to T. It will be integrated from 0 to H. When dH is integrated, we are going to have H only. R is constant, it will not be integrated. Value of I square, if you remember yesterday's lecture, it is equal to I naught sin omega t whole square into dt. Right? Now I naught is also constant, it comes out of integration. They are going to have R into I naught integration 0 to t, it is sin square omega t dt. Now sin square cannot be integrated directly. I am going to apply a trigonometric formula, trigonometric identity, and how it is going to be. Just see. The formula I am going to use is cos 2 theta, which is equal to, let me write it from this side, cos 2 theta, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 1 minus 2 sin square theta. From here, if we calculate the value of sin square theta, it is going to be 1 minus 2 cos theta, 2 cos 2 theta, no, 1 minus cos 2 theta upon this 2. Okay? So 1 minus cos 2 theta upon 2, I am going to put it over here. So what we are going to have? 1 minus cos 2 omega t upon 2 into dt. Now this 2 has nothing to do with the integration. It is out of the integration. We are going to have R I naught by 2 integration 0 to t. The integration of 1 with respect to t, let me integrate it, or let me do it separately. We are going to have dt and then minus integration 0 to t cos 2 omega t dt. Okay? I have just separated it. 2 comes out of the integration. We are going to have R I naught upon 2. Now just see, this cos 2 omega t is integrated over time period, and that's why its value is 0. I have told you yesterday, whenever a trigonometric function like sine or cos is integrated over time period, then what we are going to have? 0. The integration of dt is capital T. So what we are going to have from here? H is equal to R into I naught into capital T upon 2. Okay? And one more thing, just see, the square is there. So I naught square should be there, which was missed. It should be like this. Further, it can be by simplifying it simply. We can write I naught square into R into So this is the heat produced by alternating current over one complete cycle. Now, heat produced by direct current in the same time, capital what we are going to have? We are going to have H is equal to, this time this value of direct current is called RMS. So we will write I RMS square into R into T. So this heat should be equal according to the definition. So what we are going to have? From above, we should write I RMS whole square into RT must be equal to I naught square into RT upon T. So RT and RT will be cancelled out, and we are going to have I RMS. Okay, I RMS is equal to, I am taking the square root, I naught square root of I naught is I naught, and square root of 2 is I naught, which further can be written as 0.707 into I naught. If you solve that, you will get the result. Is it clear? So this is how we calculate the RMS value, and this is the value which is being referred all the time. If someone says to you that the alternating current flowing in the circuit is 2 ampere, just he is giving you what? The value of RMS. Okay? In the last of the chapter, meanwhile also during the lectures also, we'll solve some numericals also. In those numericals it is being given that the current flowing in the circuit or current flowing in the alternate circuit is 10 ampere. So what is that 10 ampere? 10 ampere is what? It's RMS current. What is the value of peak current in that case? Root 2 is multiplied over the I naught is equal to what? Root 2 times I RMS. Is it clear? Okay? Is it clear? Similarly, suppose IRMS has been given, the current flowing in the circuit is 10 ampere. What is the peak current the alternating current has? So current flowing is 10 ampere, this is root 2, 10 root 2, that will be the answer. Similarly, let me remove all this. We solve for VRMS also. Root means square voltage. Definition is like that only. It is that value of voltage, direct voltage, which produces same amount of heat as the alternating voltage is producing in the same time interval. And when we solve it, what we are going to have? We are going to have VRMS is equal to V naught upon root 2. Okay. From here, someone asked what is the V naught? It is simple VRMS into root 2. Like in India, the domestic supply is 220 voltage. What is that 220 voltage? It is actually the VRMS. It is VRMS, right? It is VRMS. What is the peak voltage we have? V naught is equal to what? 220 multiplied by 2. VRMS multiplied by 2. When we solve it, it comes around 312 voltage. Okay? So the voltage which we have in our day-to-day life in our home, that has the maximum value of 312 voltage. Is it clear? And its RMS value is 220 voltage, which is being referred all the time. Okay? Whenever you see an appliance, electrical appliance, which runs over AC, there must be rating of that appliance. Rating is what? Rating is like 220 voltage, 50 watt. So what is that power? We will discuss it later on. But what is that 220 voltage? 220 voltage is RMS value of voltage. Okay, so whenever a general value said to you about voltage or current in a circuit, alternating circuit, that value will be RMS value. Is it clear? In America, the domestic supply there is of 110 voltage. Frequency is 60 Hz. So their RMS voltage is 110 voltage. Which is better? Accordingly, actually it depends upon the system. We have a system of 220 voltage. We have developed all the appliances. We have developed all the mechanism on the basis of this. They have developed on this. There is no need to debate which is better. This is better. This is better. Everything is good. Depends upon the appliances, what has been developed, and accordingly the domestic supply. Okay, I must say that according to the domestic supply, the appliances has been developed. This is the correct way of saying. Right? So this is all about RMS value. Derivation is very important on this because derivation has been asked on the board examination quite few times. You must remember the derivation of RMS value. Okay? So let us move ahead and let us understand about phasor and phasor diagram. Now students, after understanding the RMS value of alternating current and alternating voltage, let us move ahead. And now we are going to do a very important topic of this chapter, and that topic is phasor and phasor diagram. I often used to say that this particular topic is the soul of the chapter. If you are not able to understand phasor and phasor diagram, the whole alternating current chapter will go into vain. Okay? All will be wasted if you are not able to understand this phasor and phasor diagram. Before understanding this, let me make you understand about sinusoidal quantities. Sinusoidal. This word you need to understand what that word means. This word is actually name of this curve. Name of this curve. Whenever this word comes, it is actually the name of this curve. So basically this is the curve of sine theta and this is the curve of cos theta, right? So this is the curve of sine theta and this is the curve of cos theta. Okay. Just try to understand. When we are calculating alternating current, it comes out to be I naught is in sine omega t. For alternating voltage or EMF if we are talking about, then E naught sine omega t. Okay? So basically the EMF and the current, they are depending upon sine. So when we present all these quantities on the graph, suppose for I am making this graph, okay? On this omega t is there. So this is the graph of I naught sine omega t. This value corresponds to I naught, and this value corresponds to minus I naught, right? And here, this is omega t. This is the graph of actually cos theta, and now here don't have anything which is related to cos theta. But suppose this graph represents the value of I with respect to omega t. So what we say that current is a sinusoidal quantity because it can be represented by a sine graph. In some cases, we are going to have current like I is equal to I naught cos omega t. In that case, the current will be represented by this graph. So whenever a quantity can be represented by a curve of sine or a curve of cosine, that quantity is called sinusoidal quantities. First of all, this thing we need to understand. Whenever a quantity can be represented in terms of sine or cosine or cos, then those quantities are called sinusoidal quantities. Now, after this, you need to understand one more thing. Although this value of current or this value of current or this value of EMF, they all are scalar quantities, right? They all are scalar quantities, they are not vector. Scalar quantities. But their value varies in terms of sign, so they can be represented by a rotating vector. They can be represented by a rotating vector. How? Let us see. Suppose we are plotting a graph for I is equal to I naught sine omega t. Let us plot it by for E is equal to P naught sin omega, right? So this is the arrow. This particular arrow is called phasor. This arrow is called phasor. It is rotating. It is rotating in this manner. With what velocity? With angular velocity omega. With angular velocity omega. It is an arrow. It is an arrow. Arrow is rotating with an angular velocity omega. With an angular velocity omega. And from where this omega has come? From here. Whatever is multiplied over with p, that will be your angular velocity. So this rotating vector rotates with an angular velocity omega, right? The length of this arrow, which is phasor, is actually E naught. So the length of this arrow is E naught, right? Okay. Now just try to understand. At any time t, let this be the general angle. Let this be omega. Now, how this rotating vector signifies this quantity, let us understand. Let us make a table for that. Here I am writing the value of omega t, and here I am writing the value of E corresponding. Suppose that omega t is 0, angle is 0, sin 0, value of sin 0 is 0, then E comes out to be what? 0. If omega t is pi by 2, means 90 degree, sin 90 value is 1, what we are going to get? E naught. Then this, when omega t is pi is 180 degree, then sin 180 is minus 1, what we are going to get? Sorry, sin 180 is 0, so we are going to have 0. Then omega t is 3 pi by 2. Sin 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. So what we are going to have? Minus E naught. And then after, and lastly, if omega t is 2 pi, then the value of E comes out to be 0. So how this rotating vector signifies the value of E with changing value or varying value of omega t? Just see. When omega t is 0 degree, the arrow is supposed to be here. Okay, the arrow is supposed to be here. How the value of E has been calculated? What we do? We draw a perpendicular, you can say projection of arrow we take on the y-axis. Okay, so from here till here, this is the value of E. Right? We take projection of arrowhead on the y-axis. On the y-axis, we have represented E. So basically, when the arrow is at x-axis, its projection will be at origin, and here the value of E comes out to be 0. When this arrow rotates from here, it rotates from over here. So from here till here, what happens? Now the arrow is here. It is making 90 degree angle. Projection, if we take, it will come at this point only. So at this point, what is the length of this arrow now? E naught. So what is the value of instantaneous EMF? And that instantaneous EMF is E. So basically here the value of EMF is E. Then after it goes here, this side, when arrow comes over here, how much angle it has been rotated? It has been rotated by an angle 180 degree. In that case, if we draw perpendicular over here, again it goes to origin, the value of EMF comes out to be 0. Then after it rotates, come over here, then what we are going to have? Here it denotes minus E naught. Here it denotes plus E naught. So what we are going to have? What we are going to have? Plus E naught minus E naught. Okay. So in this case, we are going to have minus E naught. And again, it comes to the 0. From here till here, what is happening? Let us understand with the graph. If you draw a graph of sin theta, then from 0 to pi by 2, from 0 to pi by 2. So what is happening over here? From 0 to pi by 2, the value of EMF increases. The value of EMF increases. Just see over here also. If this arrow is rotating from here till here, then at every point if we draw the value of instantaneous EMF, just see, put on the perpendicular. If from here you are measuring, the value of EMF increases, right? When the arrow was here, the foot of the perpendicular lies at this point, the value of instantaneous EMF is E this much. When the arrow is here, the value of EMF is this much. When the arrow is here, the value of EMF is this much. So basically, whenever this arrow is going up with an angle 90 degree, then what is happening over here? The EMF increases. And when this arrow comes down from here, then you can imagine if arrow is here, then again it is going down. Here, then it again comes down. So basically, when it comes till here from 90 degree to 180 degree, the EMF decreases and finally at this point the EMF becomes 0. So what we do, we take projection of arrowhead, or simply in a very simple words, we draw perpendicular from the head of the arrow on the y-axis. From the origin to the y-axis is the value of this E. The length of the arrow is considered E0. And what is omega t? Omega t is the angular displacement covered in the time t. So let me make a phasor diagram or phasor diagram. So how that EMF is represented over here? So EMF is represented like this. So this is your arrow, which is called phasor. Its length is E0. This angle is omega t. And what is the value of E? We draw perpendicular. Here we get the value of E. At time t, the value of EMF is E. For current, now suppose in this case, the current is not in the same phase as the EMF is. Suppose it is sine omega t plus phi. It could be minus also, but let us understand for the plus. So the direction, the angle, the current phasor, the phasor which represents current makes with the x-axis is omega t plus phi. So where this current should be made, the current will be this way. So length of this arrow is I0, and this angle is going to be phi. So what is the angle that current makes with x-axis? So see, from here till here is omega t, from here till here is phi, so the total angle is omega t plus phi. So basically in this case, current is leading the EMF. By what angle? By phi. Okay, so what we say? We say in this case, current leads EMF by EMF in phase by phi. Okay, so what is the phase difference between current and voltage over here? The phase difference is phi. But suppose if the current is represented, if the EMF is given by E0 sin omega t and current is represented I is equal to I0 sin omega t minus phi. So how this will be represented on a phasor diagram? Okay. So this is the for EMF, and let this be the for the current. For EMF, the angle is what? Omega t. And this time the current is minus phi of the voltage. So what we are going to have? Let me make it a bigger one so that we have a space to write. So this angle is omega t. At this time the current, so this angle will be phi. The current will be behind the voltage because it is minus sign over there. So this is your EMF and this is your current, and just see this angle is phi and this angle, the whole angle is omega t. So what is the angle current makes with the axis? Obviously omega t minus phi. If you remember class 11th definition, whatever written in front of sine is phase. The phase of EMF is omega t, phase of current is omega t minus phi. Who is leading? EMF is leading. By what angle? Phi. Is it clear? So this is how the EMF and the current are presented on with a phasor diagram. Now you must have understood that although the current and EMF are vector or scalar quantities, but they can be treated as vector quantities as well, because this is a rotating vector. So in AC, what happens whenever we have to add two currents? What we do? We actually add those current with the help of phasor diagram, right? So this was all about the phasor diagram, right? So from next video lecture, we'll try to make phasor diagrams for different circuits, and in those lectures it will be more clear that how that phasor, the concept of phasor and phasor diagram is applicable to alternating current circuits. Okay, in our syllabus only series combination is there, but I'll see if time will be left. I'll discuss parallel combination also. Okay, so this is all for the day.